The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! Let's get ready to go. All you scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and a special shout out to all you haters, especially in the news media. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I am no martyr. Don't ever get it twisted. I am no martyr. I don't pretend to be, not trying to be. I just understand the rules. So I'm going to, you have all these people saying, Reese on the radio is not suicidal. I ain't suicidal. You all know that. You don't have to worry about that. But I will tell you that I have officially run afoul on the average folks who are the gatekeepers in Connecticut. And there will be a lot of attention being paid to this show. And that's fine. I'm good with that. I'm okay. People are going to be wondering, what is he going to say next? What is he going to do? Where is he going to go? Also fine with that as well. But again, no martyr. No martyr here. My show is going to be, I guess, a target of ridicule, of attacks by certain individuals who are in this business for obvious reasons, because, again, it is not about you. It is about people who care about you, about working in your best interest. And I want all of them to understand that, and I want you to understand it. And I don't care if they attack me, because it would be proof to me that what I do in serving your interest is a problem for them. That I would dare care about the people that they serve instead of my own personal interest. That I am not going along to get along. Don't care about that. I know, yes, the usual thing is you come into town and they'll tell you, that's not the way we do things around here. And my attitude is, so? And that insults them. How dare you tell us so? How dare you ignore us? Because you're a nobody is why. And the reason why you're a nobody, and I'm going to tell everybody, before I get into my little story today, let me tell you why you're a nobody. Because if you're all doing the same thing and behaving as sheep, who can possibly recognize you? If you're all sheep, you're identical. You're all clones of each other. You're not standing out. And wearing your ridiculous outfits doesn't make you a standout. If your narrative and your message is the same, you're nobodies. Now, I'm going to be the first person to tell you here, and I've done this before, and trust me when I tell you, they will be angry when I say it. Stop watching them. Make them pay by turning off their television, their shows, all of them. Stop watching them. Let them know you are not going to be lied to anymore. That you are not going to be a part of the ridiculous old boy and old girl clubs anymore. You have got to stop feeding them. You are giving them license to lie to you. And they know it. They are willing to lie to you. And they will get their backs up about someone who serves your interests. And I couldn't believe it happened today. to hear a reporter look at me in the eye, to see them look at me in the eye and say that I was aggressive for serving the interest of you by questioning the governor, who for some odd reason cannot remember that he implemented a 1% tax on restaurants, and for some odd weird way lost $500 million. The fact that no one wanted to ask about that money and know that it's an important story, that in an election year where someone is asking for your vote to remain the governor of this state, after reporting that $500 million went into the general fund and not to tourism like it was set out. To think that in some way that my questioning of the governor about that was aggressive. Oh, and they did one step further. When I stepped out of the room and I stepped back in, I caught the reporter coaching the governor on the story. Reminding the governor of his own policy that he didn't remember. There's a reason why they don't want to serve you. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And I know they listen. I know they all say it. It's like, yeah, I listen to your show. Reese, I listen to your show. And they are probably treating it like, he's got no real power. He's got no real power. I don't want any power. This isn't about power. This is about right and wrong. This is about lies and the truth. This is about serving the public good. And unfortunately, we have people who have no interest in that. They've forgotten their role. Now, I'm going to say this to the left-leaning side of this audience. Back in 2017, all the way to 2020, the biggest story in the news media was the President Donald Trump could not deal with the Fourth Estate. That he was questioning the fact or the role of the press. When Donald Trump said that the press was the enemy of the people, everybody in the news media, in the news business, was absolutely appalled that he would suggest that. And that the president could not deal with questions. That the president could not deal with tough questions coming from the media. They said that he was trying to sequester information. And then demonizing the press. People were talking about the importance of the news media, reporters, and networks. To sit in that room and to hear someone say to me that I was being aggressive with the governor, knowing damn well I'm recording the exchange, blew my mind. To then watch reporters coaching him on his obvious misstep in saying that the $500 million that was stolen preceded his administration. No, trust me. I don't have to lie about this. I have it on tape, which we will play, and no one will be able to deny. To give you some background, for those of you who might not remember, in the first year in office of Governor Ned Lamont, his first budget proposal in October included a 1% tax on restaurants in order to balance the budget. That money was supposed to, and slated, to go back to the restaurants and to the communities of said restaurants to promote tourism. It was Susan Raff's reporting from WFSB that said that money did not go to the tourism fund but went into the general fund. And that money is missing. Members of the restaurant association came to City Hall to not ask for the $500 million that was stolen from them, because that's what happened. They asked going further, can we allot the amount of money, the 1%, back into the restaurants? They didn't even ask for the money back, which I'm asking for. I want the $500 million back. I think the taxpayers deserve it. I think the towns and the municipalities who paid it deserve it. They were promised that. They were told that. They were lied to. And if the governor wants to remain the governor of the great state of Connecticut, I believe he should honor that request, regardless of what the restaurants are asking for. People are owed that tax, and it should not be blown over. It is a reasonable request. So, to hear that the governor's saying that it preceded his administration, not knowing that it was in essence the first order of business of his administration when he joined back in 2019, begs a little bit of a question. Why does he not remember? And if he doesn't remember, why did nobody on his staff alert him to this amount of money? Which led me to my second question to the governor, which you'll hear. Why is everybody being so cavalier and dismissive about $500 million missing? Did no one see it as important? Was this just business as usual? Is this the way things go down in Connecticut? We just squander $500 million and we move on and we spend money any way we can and just continue to tax more and more people. We just move on to the next tax. And no one's supposed to be upset about that? Even you folks on the left? I know plenty of you are just saying, it's just 1%, that's okay, and it's for a good cause. Well, it didn't go to the good cause that you eagerly paid that 1% for. Answers are required, aren't they? And the news media had him there. He was there for a press conference on advancing the Head Start program, or Head Start to Housing program, which is going to be another taxpayer-funded giveaway to the poor, which I barely even got into, but I did get a question in on that one. We'll talk about that maybe next week. But then they moved off to the side to ask unrelated questions. And they wanted to talk about a committee and talk about UConn and talk about Senate races. This man's in the middle of a campaign. And we just found out that $500 million got squandered. No one wanted to bring it up. And when I did, for some odd reason, they felt annoyed by it. Like, how dare you ask? Like, that's irrelevant. Your tax dollars are irrelevant? When? When has that ever been the case? Anywhere. On God's green earth. The use of your money, the squandering of your money, the theft of it. When has that never been a story? The story wouldn't be here if it wasn't reported. I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't reported in the news. It was a big enough story to capture me. It captured people across the country. People were talking about it on X. I saw the story once and I said, that looks like an interesting story. Let me get to the bottom of it. But before I could even get to it, it hit my feed. 5 different places on national X accounts. And I said, well, yeah, maybe this is a big story. And sure enough, it is. But not big enough for the news media here in Connecticut. They cared more about misinformation on Gov't than they did $500 million in the state. No one's even asking where the money went. Not even Republicans. And they're the ones who want to be in charge. I'm criticizing everybody who isn't asking the question. It's simple. If you can misappropriate $500 million, what else are you losing or stealing or misappropriating? And for those of you in the news media, why are you ignoring it? Why would you be mad that someone else, a colleague of yours, is covering it? And why would you coach the governor on a story he clearly doesn't even remember? All of these questions are relevant. But guess what? Make it about me. Make it about me having the audacity to ask. I want everybody to know that that's what's coming. Not about money being stolen, not about your tax dollars being misused. Make it about me having the audacity to bring it up. My mantra has always been, I await the hate. But at the end of the day, when the hate is coming my way for doing the right thing, I invite it. Please keep it coming. If that means making the right enemies, I can't wait. But I'm going to go after everybody, anybody who assists the powers that be, elected officials, who protect them in stealing the money from the people they're supposed to serve. I will never stop. You can bank on that. We'll be back. I'll play the audio for you when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. Like and share with your friends. Let them know that the show is on. It's important. By the way, we've got Michael Criss, who's running for Senate in the 8th District on the program today at 4 o'clock. We were supposed to have Devon Ward, but he woke up sick with the flu this morning. So he and Mark of West Hartford won't be in today, but they will be back next week. We are working on that. Also, well, I've got some other guests that are coming up on Monday. You guys know about the Good Friday show. I'll talk to you about that as well in a minute, which is going to be online because of the Red Sox game. So I'll tell you about that. Also, we've got some guests lined up for next week on Monday and Tuesday. Two very important guests that are coming up on both those days. We are getting the finalized details of Linda McMahon here in the studio. That's an important one because I'll say this, folks. The objective here with Linda McMahon coming here to the station on this program is to do the thing that you guys have been asking me to do, and that is to get in her ear, to get it into Washington's ear, to get it into the Trump administration's ear. That's what I'm trying to do in bringing her here. We've had the president talk about Connecticut as it relates to voting recently, and Connecticut has been very much ignored on a national level, or at least by this administration. And it is important to constantly keep needling this administration. Do not ignore Connecticut because there's a lot going on here that needs to be addressed. And I am doing everything in my power to get the right people, one, in that chair, and two, to get a spotlight on what's happening here. Because it is evident to me that the people who are supposed to be shining a light on it have no intention to. So, with that, let's get to the points. So I showed up in Manchester, which I got the alert because everybody knows that when I first moved here, Manchester was the town that I moved to. And I loved it there. I met my good friend, if not my best friend, Criss there. I was just with him just this past Sunday. He and his wife and his daughter went to go see the Passion play in East Hartford. And like I said, Manchester made me fall in love with Connecticut overall. And so when I got this memo that the governor was going to be there, I said, I don't care what he's there for. This is an opportunity to ask him about that $500 million, which I told you it seemed that the press was ignoring. But I had an opportunity. It's at 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm going. Left my house about 20 minutes to get there. I got there in 19. I may have broken an occasional law, but I got there because I wanted to make sure I was there when he walked in. I wasn't there a minute. Governor walks in. He sits there. A bunch of people speak. Blah, 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 blah. He gets there. They allow questions. I ask a few related to the thing he was there for. Now, I didn't think I was going to get an opportunity or an audience with the governor at all because I thought this was going to be stay on topic kind of deal. So I knew I probably wasn't going to get my chance on the $500 million. Lo and behold, I see the governor walking into a back room at this preschool. And I go to the other guys, what's going on there? Because I see the guys carrying camera and they're walking into the back. And I go, what's going on? They're going, hey, he's taking off-topic questions in the back. I look at the clock and I go, yeah, you know what? I got time. The reason why I came, there was no way I was going to walk. We're doing off-topic. I'm there. So I let everybody go. As I told you folks yesterday online, seniority rules. These people have been here 10, 20, 15 years. I'm the new guy. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I don't want to change the temperature in the room. But I'm going to see the mood, see where people are going, what they're talking about, and then I'm going to ask my question, which I did. Here's the first one, after everybody else went.
Susan Raff did a story the other day about the $500 million of the 1% tax from restaurants that was supposed to go back to tourism. What are we going to do about that $500 million that went into the general fund and now nobody can account for?
Well, I think in terms of tourism, the good news is we've raised a couple of $1 million right now privately to help promote the 250th here for the state of Connecticut. In addition, we'll be using DECD money to help promote what we're doing because Connecticut was heart and soul of what was there for the founding of this country.
Will there be a return of the $500 million that was lost?
I haven't gotten into that part yet. Obviously, if you take it out of the budget, something else has got to give. But, right now, the way it's been traditionally done is that's going to the general fund. Like I said, we've allocated a lot of that to promoting the state.
Now, that is a lie. He says generally it goes into the general fund. That's a lie in this case because that was never the plan. That's the whole point of Susan Raff's reporting. It was told the money would go towards tourism. Here's Lamont saying that it was always set for the general fund. We know that's not true. Susan Raff was there. She followed up on my question. It's her story. You see, I give her credit at the beginning because it is her story.
What about going forward and having a percentage? I think that's what Scott Gulch from the Restaurant and Hospitality Association would like. They're not even asking for all the money back. They just want a percentage going forward.
Right. I think they want money for promotion of the state and tourism. So as I tried to suggest for the 250th, we've got $2 million raised right now, plus some promotional money. Even municipalities would like to get some of that money as well. Everybody would like a piece of that. I'd like it to go to early childhood right here on behalf of the general fund. So that's why we have a session. That's what we'll be discussing with the representatives.
Also false. He's talking about, hey, everybody would want a piece of that money because you promised them that. They're not, they want a piece of that money. This isn't their suggestion. This was your suggestion. And everybody's being cavalier about it. So I followed up.
Well, I'm saying it's $500 million that did not go back to tourism or to the towns that it was allotted for. I kind of feel like people are treating it like, oh, it's just $500 million. I mean, there's some people who are outraged.
This is all precedes me, by the way. But, that said, I think if people want more money for tourism, that money comes from someplace else. Like I said, we've got significant resources for tourism, more than we've had in many, many years, making a down payment on promoting the state for the 250th.
Any feelings about the congressional race heating up both Criss?
They just moved on. They just moved on. As I told you, it's insane. It's like it's not even a big deal. $500 million. It's really $550 million. But it's just like, you know what? The money's gone. If they want that money, you know what? We're just going to have to find another place for it. No, literally no serious questions. $500 million. I'm telling you, people are upset about this. Do they care? Nope. Precedes me. And after I saw that they were moving on, I'm like, okay, all right, I guess these folks are moving on. I can press. So I walked out because I was frustrated. I was incredibly frustrated at this. And I had to remember, okay, Reese, you're not on your show. In your show, you can do whatever you want. But I'm like, here, you just got to stay cool. Just cool, stay cool. So I walk out and I say, you know what? Screw that. Walk back in. I couldn't have been out 2 minutes. I walk back in. Sure enough, the presser's over. Governor's coming out of the room that we were all sitting in. And I see a reporter who I'm not going to name. That will come later. And I see a reporter talking to the governor. Now, mind you, it was apparent that no one in the room wanted to talk about this $500 million. It was apparent when I brought it up in the room. Everyone thought that I had pretty much farted in the place. That was the look. They immediately went to the congressional races. They wanted to talk about that. After that, they talked about the Huskies. They wanted no parts of this story. They did not want to press him on it, even though it was evident to all of them, especially Susan Raff, when he said that it preceded him. He knew that was not true, or maybe he didn't. But anyway, that should have been the focus. When they heard that, when every person, every reporter in that room heard him say it preceded him, they all knew it was a lie. But nobody brought it up. They just moved on. And I was ticked off about that. So I figured I would just get him one-on-one and say, Governor, with all due respect, this was your proposal. And I was even going to play him the audio that I had, the video that I had on my phone. But I walked in and I saw a reporter looking directly at the governor and saying, and I quote, "This actually did happen on your watch. It was in the 2019 budget." Didn't want to talk about it while the cameras were rolling, but were talking about him privately and literally coaching him on it, on the issue, reminding him of it. I stood there and lost it. I went, what in the hell? What? The cameras are no longer rolling. Now we're addressing him? Now we're reminding him? That could have been done with the cameras rolling. This is great stuff. This is a huge news story. And the governor just flat out lied about it. Nobody cared. I'm telling you, I'm completely lost. And I know a lot of you are going to say, see, Reese, see? It wasn't that I didn't believe you. It's not that. It's just knowing who it is now. Right? So having it revealed to me in my face while I'm standing there, knowing that my presence there, I'm skunking the place. I'm a skunk in the room. Knowing that. And then to see a reporter coaching the governor, giving him a heads up on the fact that it was his administration that did it, but not questioning him about it. Giving him the lowdown on what he clearly doesn't remember. And then somebody from his camp says, hey, Reese, you know what? Let's see whether or not we can get the governor on your show. Here, take my number. This was the same person I saw when I saw the governor at the Hartford Public Safety Building when he was doing the recruitment and retention bill that he was promoting to the police and fire department. That individual wanted no part. Hey, just give me your card, and walked off. Never heard from the guy. Today, take my personal cell. Gee, I wonder why. It was an astonishing thing to witness. And I think I just found my new addiction. I did. I don't do alcohol. I don't do cigarettes. I don't do sugar. But I am all in on media corruption and lies. And I'm going to get drunk on it. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. For those of you who are just joining us, and we'll talk about who's on the program later on today as well as next week. I'll get to that briefly. But if you're just joining us, we were talking about, or I was talking about, going to Manchester to meet with the governor during a press conference, and to get some questions in about the $550 million that was taken from taxpayers that was supposed to go to tourism, but ended up in the general fund. It was this story that started this entire campaign by yours truly.
Connecticut's tourism budget has been slashed, but there are plans to revive it. Money will come from a meals tax, a tax that is supposed to help promote the state, but is going somewhere else. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is live in Middletown, where restaurants are fighting to get the money that was promised. Susan?
Sam, I think we can all agree that tourism is important, yet Connecticut spends far less than many other states. Now, this meals tax was supposed to go to help cities and towns, but somehow it ended up going somewhere else, straight to the state budget.
Somehow it ended up somewhere else. You see the relevance of the story?
Every check includes a 1% charge. That extra 1% tax has gone back to the general fund since 2019, generating over $500 million. But that wasn't the original intent. The money was supposed to go to the city or town where the tax was generated. The owner of Tate's came to Hartford to speak at a public hearing on a bill to bring some of that money back.
Now, those folks were being generous. Those folks were being kind. But it doesn't negate the fact that over $500 million was put into the general fund, and it was never supposed to go there. It's a big story.
The hospitality industry is a cornerstone of whatever culture you might be a part of. And I think that it's important to understand that we can contribute much more to our communities this way than just the meal or the donation.
It's money that, is generated inside our local economies, but it's sent straight to the state's general fund. Our towns get nothing, our tourism marketing budget gets nothing, and our small businesses get nothing.
Scott Dolch from the Connecticut Restaurant and Hospitality Association has been leading the fight to get back the money and do what he calls common sense. Give 50% to the towns, the other 50% to the state tourism budget.
So the question becomes to the governor. So is it just, it's just lost money now? We're going to start over? It's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we squandered $500 million. You know what? No harm, no foul. We taxed everybody for it and we used it for ourselves for whatever ridiculous thing we planned on it. So no harm, no foul, right? People are fighting for them to do with the money they had already planned because the tax is still there. But guess what? No dice.
Democratic and Republican lawmakers agree on this one.
A lot of people think Connecticut tourism really is just Mystic, the casinos, or pizza. There's a lot more going on out there that we're not funding.
Give us back what was designated for tourism. We're not asking for something that wasn't already designated for tourism. We're just asking them to give back what they've taken.
Give back what they have taken. This isn't some silly little, man bites dog story. This is stolen money in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The fact that people in the state were able to generate that in a matter of 5 years is a big deal, and it didn't go where it belongs.
Now, the Finance Committee will have to give approval in order for this to go to the full General Assembly. So the bottom line is some Republicans and Democrats agree that the money should go to where it was intended, but there are a lot of people who are wondering how it went so far for so long in the wrong direction.
You would think that is a big story, right? Am I wrong? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just asking, because again, I didn't do the report. Susan Raff did. WFSB. They dedicated a considerable amount of time, as I did here. Is it not a big story? Why do it? No, they didn't call it what I called it, but we all know what it is. It's theft. And that's what it is. Now for the bombshell. I got called aggressive in my questioning of the governor. My questions, with you just heard, the audio I played for you, asking the governor about that money, I was called aggressive in my questioning of him. I'm dead serious. Who called me aggressive? Susan Raff. She said my questions were aggressive. It's her story. And my questions were aggressive. That's interesting. I couldn't believe it. Like my eyes bulged. I was like, what? What? It's your story. I gave you credit for it. It's a legitimate question. Is anybody going to see the money back? It was the question you had in your piece. I was being aggressive? What? Yeah. Dead serious. I'll play the audio for you again. You tell me. You be the judge. Maybe I was. I mean, maybe I don't know my own tone. Roseanne says that about me. She's like, you don't understand your tone. That's true. I've been guilty of that. We got to take a break. We'll be back.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC, News Talk 1080. Thank you. I'm reading a couple of messages here. Criss writes, hey, Reese, I'm not convinced that anything will ever get better in Connecticut, but I am glad you are fearless in calling out corruption. Everywhere you look in this state, you will find something that is broken beyond repair. All of big businesses has had to find new states to call home. Hard to come to the realization that politics can destroy a neighborhood. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of suffering because of the corrupt government. I'm going to let you in on a secret here, Criss. And it is not a good secret to share, but it is a secret. And anyone who is in this business will tell you, a place like Connecticut is ripe for guys like me. It's our business. Like, we need all of this bad crap to be going on in order to be who we are. And I'll never forget the day that I admitted that out loud. And I said it in a very dismissive way to someone who was, kind of trying to get under my skin. And I had to look at him and say, like, I think he was coming after me on a personal level. I think it had to do with Barack Obama's reelection. And he was like, yeah, Barack Obama's going to be reelected, and what are you going to do now? And my response to him was about as dismissive as it could get. And I'll paraphrase what I told him. I said, I understand that Barack Obama may indeed be president of the United States and will get reelected. But the guys like me and people in this business, that's a gold mine. Because we know exactly how horrible he will be. We know exactly how corrupt his government will be. We know exactly what he'll do that will drive the rest of you crazy. And all of us in this business, we will market ourselves off of telling you and exposing him. We will make a gold mine off of it. So while you're sitting around bragging, yeah, he won, But the rest of us, we know. If our guy wins, it'll be a boring-ass day. The most we'll have to do is defend every one of that Republicans' policies. But if we get an opposition party inside the White House, you can forget about it. Our sponsorships go up. We do. I'm telling you, that's what I told them. And it couldn't be more cynical to say it. But when I got here, and again, I would have never imagined to be here in Connecticut. But I knew the minute that I was coming back that something else was going on. And I heard all of you saying, you don't want to come here, man. It's a mess. And I had to decide what kind of show I was going to be. If I was just going to come here and I was going to be that same cynic. But remember, there were plenty of parts of my life that had changed. I got sober, stopped smoking, I got married, fell in love and got married. Every aspect of my life changed. And that was when I decided that it was no longer about benefiting over people's misery. I can't do it. Not after everything that has been afforded me. I can't do it anymore. I cannot profit from your suffering. I'm done with it. And I have a platform where I have to push, and I have to push back. So I made my decision. Let them come. Let them be angry. I don't care. But I get your frustration, Chris. I know you're saying to yourself, like, what's the use? I know. But if we don't try, what's the point? I can't sit by. I can't do it anymore. I can't sit idly by and just let it go on and profit from it. I'm done with that. I feel dirty doing it. Lori says the problem with mainstream media is it still hides the truth about his presidency. Yeah, they do. They do. It's just one of those things. Roy says, thank you. We need a strong voice and strong people. No, I'm not some kook crazy person. I just lived here for 55 years and literally been around the world and seen some things that make me question. But it's only me. It's only me in the feeling. You know, you're not alone, Rory. You're not alone in that. You know? But, you know, we live in a world that just sort of says, like, what can we do, right? Like, what are we supposed to do about all of this? You know, and again, there is the usual, you know, you vote with your feet. And I get that. It's been made incredibly easy now after the pandemic, right? When people found out that they could actually do their jobs from home, which, by the way, we saw coming 30 years ago. I'll never forget the reporting on that. Was saying remote work was going to be the thing. And it was in smatterings here and there. There were stories on places like 2020 by Baba Wawa and Hugh Downs. I love Hugh Downs. I always love Hugh Downs' voice. But they were talking about that, and it was in these very, very off-the-beaten-path places about remote working and how fringe it was, but yet interesting. It's subculture, if you will. And look where we are now. And now that people know, I'll never forget the day that Rush talked about it. Saying that now that people realize they can do their job from anywhere, New York is no longer the place to be. Right? The job market used to be, you go to New York. That's where New York was sort of that melting pot of everybody from all across the country and all across the globe. You go there to make your bones. Right? You meet a girl or a guy, whatever the case may be, and you fall in love, and then you make all your money, and then you move to the suburbs. You know, you move to Westchester, you move to here to Connecticut, you move to New Jersey, and you commute. And you have two cars with 2.5 kids. There's clearly a minivan in your future. That used to be the deal, but now, no more. You don't have to go to New York to make it. People are making it everywhere. And you can, again, vote with your feet. Connecticut is turning into that place. But there are people who are here in the legislature in recognizing it. It's not that they don't realize it. It's that they are absolutely hell-bent on their agenda of turning over the power structure, the financial structure, to more and more poor people, creating more and more indigent people. This sort of ideology that looks at Connecticut's wealth, looks at the state, its beauty, and its history and wishes to punish it through taxation. You've got all the money in the world, Connecticut. And instead of selling that or building it, using that wealth to create opportunities for other folks, we punish the wealth. And a lot of people have said, I'm sick and tired of it. And they don't think that there's any hope for them, because they think everyone is corrupt. And if everyone's corrupt, it's a virus and you can't fight it. And I know a lot of you believe in your heart of hearts. You say to me, it's like, Reese, you're naive. You cannot beat this. Well, I will, I reject that. I just have to. Donald and I were talking yesterday, and he says emphatically, you think you're going to change this state. It's never going to happen. The part about Donald that I don't seem to understand is that he's not frustrated. He knows how bad it is. And he has just decided to stick with the status quo. Probably because he's been made to believe, as many of you have been led to believe, that there's just no way of pushing back. It just is what it is. Again, I reject it. Somebody has got to do something. And like I said, I'm not trying to be a martyr. If there's anything I'm trying to do is inspire, and I'm inspiring people. Nobody should have to take this. Nobody should have to put up with this. No one should be made to. Are you free people or not? I can't help but ask, are you free people or not? I really do believe in you. There are a lot of people in this state, and I've even heard it from we're talking about the sturdiest of conservatives. I've heard it from you guys, and you know what you tell me? You tell me that Connecticut is its government. And I'm going to go back and tell a story sort of out of school, because you wouldn't know the person in general, but it's a guy by the name of Youssef. I used to do a podcast with him out in California. And we always had this constant debate. Back and forth. And the debate was, in essence, and I hate to say this because I'm not casting aspersions on the guy. He's well-meaning, but he believes, he doesn't see America as her people, which I keep trying to tell people. That's who we are. America is her people, you and me. We are the engine that drives this. But we have become a society that believes that our country is our politics or our politicians. And on both sides, they believe that. I mean, that's the reason why we have the No Kings protest. At the No Kings protest, you think about it. You listen to the things that people say. Donald Trump thinks he's a king. They believe that everything that's happening, from ICE agents deporting illegals to, just anything, for crying out loud, or tariffs, policy. They believe that all of those things are just happening by one person, right? It's the sort of like absolute, misdirection of it, blaming it on one man, not thinking there are policies and people and belief systems and just none of that stuff they wish to pay attention to. It's just focusing on one man, and he is the enemy. I go back to that movie, Arlington Road, with Jeff Bridges, Joan Cusack, and Tim Robbins, where Jeff Bridges is trying to explain to his classroom about Osama bin Laden, that they need to centralize Osama bin Laden as, in essence, not just the face of terrorism, that he was terrorism overall, that it wasn't other groups or anything like that it was just centralized to one man. And if all of us as a people focused on that one person, that in getting rid of him, in some way we get rid of the entire virus. That's the reason why No Kings has the popularity that it does, with the exception of all of the money that's being spent on it. But the average person who isn't getting paid, they believe it's centralized to Donald Trump. All of their woes are on Donald Trump. That's the way in which we look at our politics, the way that we look at America. Is that the reason why it's so bad is because of those people in Washington. They control it all. And we have ceded that to them. We have given that to them. that they are America, not you, not me. We've relinquished our own power. We've given up our own wherewithal. We have abandoned our own freedom. And we have placed everything in our lives on them. We feel like everything we do in this world is a pushback on them. But we never negotiate with each other. We don't even work together. Because we don't see us as a unit. We don't see ourselves as that. And even in opposition, the reason why I communicate with people on the left as much as I communicate with people on the right is because I don't see them as my enemy. I see them as people who are either misguided, in some cases maybe even stupid. But the matter, I don't hate them. In some ways, I wish to understand them. Because if I can understand them, if I can figure it out, it's sort of like dealing with, not that I don't want to reduce the left to plumbing, but forgive me. I'm using an analogy here. Please don't take it personal. But I deal with it as any problem, like if your TV doesn't work or your sink doesn't work, or an electronic that you have isn't operating well. What do? You find out the inner workings and you find out what's going on. It causes that thing not to work or to operate in a fashion that isn't working for you. That's the way I look at people who disagree with me. I wish to understand their operating system, why they've come to this conclusion. I address them with simple questions to get simple answers. And when they can't and they're forced to understand, it is almost like they self-correct. They go, okay, I see your point there. Okay. And I do it without malice. But the way that I see the world, and again, I could be delusional here. And it's fine if you think that way. But I see America as its people. It is all of us, every one of us. And in Connecticut, nutmeggers, the reason why I start off this show by screaming nutmeggers, conversationalists, and yes, even all you haters, we're all one. I include every one of you because you make this engine run. And I know a lot of you want to abandon it. I get it. That is a choice that you make. I will never, ever hold that against you. It is right for you, and when it's righteous for you, of course do it. Of course. But the rest of you who either can't leave or wish that something would change, it's got to take all of us. And we've got to make a convincing case to change it around. Because believe it or not, even those on the left who support Lamont, they're sick and tired of being taxed out the wazoo every day and the money being lost and squandered and nobody taking responsibility. It bothers them, too, when they're at home, when they look over their finances or look at the taxes that they have to pay and the increasing number of it. They know it. Don't ever think that they don't. Try to say to yourself, you try to understand over, are these people crazy? No, they're not. They got to go home, too. Their light bill comes, too. Their gas bill comes, too. They've got to fill up their tanks. They've got to put their kids through school. They've got to deal with the everyday stuff that you do. And guess what? Believe it or not, they won't tell you, and that's fine, for pride or whatever reason, so you don't get the jump on them. Whatever reason, we know. We have to understand that we know. I won't write them off. I know that you will. I know a lot of you will, but I won't. Crazy as it may sound, I have faith in them. Crazy as that may sound. But truth be told, I don't have a choice. This is who I am. I mean, to my core, I have faith in every single one of them. And I really do believe that there's going to be a turnaround in my heart. And if it fails, I'll take that too. But I ain't going to quit after that either. That's not how I'm built. I've never been built that way. When you guys know my story, you know my history. There's no give up button here. I can't. And I hope that you feel a little bit like that too. I really do. Anyway, all right, enough. Like I said, we've got Michael Criss. He's running in District 8 for Senate. He'll be here at 4 o'clock. He will join us. We'll talk about his campaign. We'll talk about a whole bunch of this stuff as well, what's going on in the state of Connecticut, how he wishes to serve you or the people at least in District 8. Also, this week, Pastor Todd, my pastor of the Bridge Community Church, will be here tomorrow, as well as Andrew Decker and the Bandits. They will perform here live. We were online for most of the show because the Red Sox are playing, and that will be broadcast on WTIC, of course, the regular broadcasting. But you can join us on WTIC.com, the Odyssey app, or, of course, on Reese on the radio, so that you can be a part of the program for Good Friday. And Pastor Todd will be here at the hour of the crucifixion and death of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I hope that you will join us for that. Okay? The show will go on. Thank you guys for indulging me in that long monologue. I know it was a little breathy, but it was what was on my heart, and I just wanted to share that. We'll be back. In fact, you know what we'll do if you want to? 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. If you wish to call in, I usually take calls at the closer to the end of the show, but if you want to call in and opine about what happened in Manchester today, please have at it. We'll take your calls after we get back from the news. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
Now, you guys may know that regardless of what's going on in my personal life, even here, there is some breaking news, of course, that happened at the beginning of the show, that Attorney General Pam Bondi is no more. She has been let go. She's going to be moving back to the private sector. And right now, Todd Blanche is going to be the interim AG. It has been alleged that the EPA secretary is, and he's not really the secretary. He's like, I guess he is. Anyway, head of the EPA. Lee Zeldin is going to be taking over. It's alleged that he's going to be the guy that takes over. I heard CNN talking about this last night as with regards to Pam Bondi. I'm going to get into that in a second. So stay tuned for that, because there's something that I'm very, very interested when it comes to the news media and, of course, people on the left. And I didn't know, I noticed that they did not do something that's very typical of them when things like this happen. So I'll talk about that in a second. But let me get to the phones real quick. Let's start with my good friend, Simsbury Joe. What's up, Big A?
Hello there. So I say the following with love and respect for you, Reese.
Yes.
You're delusional.
I know. And I know you do say it with love and respect. I know you're not trying to hurt my feelings.
No, not at all. So the reason I say that is yesterday I was having a conversation with someone who I have a lot of respect for. And you know what they did? They used fighting words, but in the end, after they explained it, they weren't fighting words. They were probably more right than what I wanted to recognize. They said that I'm a liberal. And the reason that they said I was a liberal and why I'm saying what I'm saying about that is that we were talking about the far left. And it is my belief that people on the far left are evil. There's something wrong with them. They're trying to destroy this country. And those people are very different from people that are liberals. I have no problem with liberals.
Good point.
And the point we were talking about, one of a few points, but the big one was the whole thing with the Somalis stealing the billions of dollars.
Sure.
And I started talking about, think about all the people who are suffering in Minnesota and other places where the Somalis were doing this.
Yeah.
California, and how they couldn't get food, how they can't pay their bills, which is liberal talk.
Yeah, sure. People who are out on the streets.
Liberals agree with me. Far left, you don't hear them going after the Somalis.
No.
That's why this person called me a liberal. And then the other thing we were talking about, which might be of interest to people, is we had both read the same story. I had sent it to him. About Canada, where single moms with 2 kids are eligible for getting food at food banks.
Okay.
But single dads with 2 kids are not eligible.
Wow.
Yeah. And people, where I saw this and what was in the comment section, were people both from Canada and the United States saying very similar things about first of all, how absolutely insane that is.
Right.
And that's all focused on DEI stuff. And that's, of course, a liberal would not think that that was okay, but someone on the far left would think that that was okay. Somewhere in their sick brain, they're going to say that, oh, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's punish the kid because they were single fathers.
Yeah, but what they talked about in the comments, and a number of people did, and these are people both in the United States and Canada, talking about their local food banks with immigrants showing up in $100,000 vehicles, grabbing as much food as they can, and driving off.
Yeah.
And again, I look at that as the liberal in me, which is no longer an insult, is looking at it and saying, why do people not see this as being extremely wrong?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the article was actually about food banks in Canada running out of food. So now we got people both in the United States and Canada who are immigrants with $100,000 vehicles, and I don't even drive a $100,000 vehicle, and I'm successful, showing up at food banks to grab food for them and 10 family members.
But remember what that's about, though, Joe. The reason why these folks, or those on the far left, take no issue with it, and they kind of expose who they are in their hearts, right? The only thing they want, truly, is payback by any means necessary. These people are so hateful and they want such destruction and anarchy, they are willing to accept the worst type of behavior and applaud it because that's who they are, right? Remember, the death of Charlie Kirk should have made every reasonable person go, I didn't like the guy, but that's horrendous. But the worst part of the left, and that is the far left, they found a way to celebrate it because to them, any way to shut up Charlie Kirk was acceptable to them, even murdering him. And they were willing to take that. They were willing to cross that line. That's just who they are.
Yeah, you just used a couple of magic words, anarchy and hate. And that's where, I was half joking with you about you being delusional, but I'm sorry, I would be lying to people if I didn't say that when it comes to the far left, and I really just draw that distinction, I have tremendous hate for a lot of people on the far left because I don't see them doing things from a far left perspective to make the country better. I see them doing things to try to destroy the country.
Yes.
And I said to someone yesterday that we have never seen this in the United States of America, maybe other than if you want to redefine the Civil War, where you had such a group of people who were allowed to fester and have positions of authority to spread this venom of anti-Americanism. There's always been disagreement. That's what makes our country great.
Yeah.
But these people are out for something different.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'd like to make a real quick comment about Aaron Stewart, because I keep forgetting to bring this up, and she did it again.
Okay.
Aaron Stewart, right now I'm not supporting her. I know a lot of people do, and,
Okay. Well, what happened exactly?
Well, first of all, her thing about not wanting to do your debate, and I know what that really is about, and it shows up in my primary point having to do with her, is I saw yet again another Aaron Stewart video. She's always on Facebook. She's on X.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them, she's reading off a script.
Oh.
She needs to put the script away and talk to the people. And that is my number one fear about her. It's my fear as to why she's not wanting to do the debate, is that even in a friendly debate where your goal is not to attack other Republicans, but to attack the Democrats, she does not have command of the facts of what's going on. And that will show up. And every time she gets on one of these videos and she does the script and people say, oh, she's wonderful, as she's looking down at the script. I'm sorry. I'm talking to you right now. I have no script.
Right.
I'm speaking from the heart because I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I want to hear her speak from the heart. And when I do, then maybe I'll support her. But right now, She's just gaslighting people. Just keep looking at her eyes. She keeps looking down. I want to know, what do you really believe about?
Yeah. Well, her team. I know her team.
About.
I know her team listens to the show. I hope she'll take that to heart. I think it's a fair criticism if that is to you. If she sees that, or if other people have been talking about that, I'm sure she it's sort of what's the old saying? Sort of adjust or aim, something like that. I forget. My wife says it all the time.
Well, and on X and Facebook, there is no limit. So if she's talking from the heart, and her video from a script is 2 minutes long, and from the heart it's 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's not a TV commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Speak to us.
Yeah, good point.
Tell us that you know what you need to say because you understand it and you believe it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
You got it. Let's go to the poet laureate is back. Fred in Middletown is speaking of which, I'm going to have one of your Middletown's own on Monday.
Yes. Mark from West Hartford, or who? No,
the Congressman Kwong.
A congressman. I don't.
What's
know
his name?
this guy.
Senator? Is it Senator? What's his last name? He just wrote the op-ed on King on. I'm forgetting his name. Somebody just sent it to me a minute ago.
Asian name, you say?
Asian gentleman who just wrote the piece on No Kings. But anyway, forget about all that. I'll tell you who it is in a minute.
I wouldn't know him. Yeah, no, I'm not up on the scene here like I once was. I used to have a lot of insiders.
No doubt.
Everything.
What's your deal today, sir? Oh, it is Wong. It's Wong, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't know him. Joe from Simsbury, I swear I heard him once refer to my friend Jim Griffin. And if that's the same Jim Griffin, I forget what he ran for or against who, but he ran in 24, and I heard him for an hour on DRC.
Okay.
And the dude, I mean, he just spits gold, but let me summarize the point.
Okay.
Connecticut, for like ever now, has been a communist petri dish. We are literally California's sister state.
Right.
This place is deep communist. Now, and then I got to drop the book title, The Anti-Communist Manifesto.
Always.
Kelly, I just read it.
Uh-huh.
I got a copy for someone, a friend, and because someone gave me a gift card to RJ Julia. After taking a peek, I bought 10 copies. I'm handing it out like a prayer card, and I read it myself in like 3 days. If the greatest trick of the devil was to convince people he doesn't exist.
That's right.
If the devil had a political party, and he does, it would be communism, and it is. We're dealing with evil. The children of darkness hateth the children of light. That's why there's this thing on children, because they are innocent. It's war. And now let me just stop and drop. If you could possibly, maybe Joe could confirm that, if that's the same Jim Griffin. I just want to hear him.
Well, Joe, send me a text, and I'll definitely make sure I'll give you a shout out to let you know, Fred.
And let me close with this.
Yes, sir.
And a rhetorical question. Are we ready to call Ben Proto controlled opposition or not? Because if you're not, then just shut up about local politics. Young people speaking their mind, getting so much resistance from behind. This guy makes sure everybody loses. And by the way, the Ben Proto slayer is Amy Borden. She owns him 360 degrees. She can put him in as many pieces as you want.
Okay.
I've heard her do it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you got it. Have a good one. Poet laureate, Fred in Middletown. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I'll get the rest of your calls. Lisa, Everett, and Adam, stay on the line. We'll get back to you in a second when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, just getting our stuff situated here. We've got Michael Criss in the building. We'll talk to him in a minute, talk about his campaign and a whole bunch of other stuff. I will drag the information out of him and get him on the good foot on all the stuff that we care about, and then we'll tell him that we're not going to vote for him unless he does what I ask him to do. No, I'm kidding. None of that. I'm just kidding. We'll get into a whole bunch of stuff with him, and of course, your phone call is coming up. Let me deal with this because I've got roughly about 4 minutes. So I'm going to go through everybody as fast as I can. I'm going to take Lisa real quick. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Reese.
Hi.
I just had a little comment here. You know that the devil's name was Lucifer when he was an angel.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then he got thrown down to earth, and then his name was Satan. Satan has many demons, many demons doing his work. It's not just him. And I'm sorry, but I believe that good part of the Dems are demons doing his work because they're so evil. And we talked about this. I'm very afraid of them.
I know you are. And I, it's funny because, Lisa, you brought up something that my wife has brought up before. Let him grab a seat. My wife brought this up before. So recently, my wife has been able to sleep through the night. And I asked her just recently, I said, you've been sleeping through the night a lot lately. And she says, I finally had to stop watching the news. I had to stop watching all of those things that were actually keeping her up she says that it was keeping her up at night. Like you were, talking about those things were worrying her. Like every day she was worried. And, I don't say this to be sexist in any way, but my wife likes to express to me that women's brains, if they were a computer, it would be like 100 windows open at the same time.
Exactly. No, she's right. It is women more.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the way in which she, it's hard for her to get sleep when her mind is racing like that. So I totally get where you're coming from. It's like your fear. Hearing it from my wife blew my mind because I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. I kind of have to take that into consideration. So I don't in any way reject the way in which you view it because we have to consider that and we have to keep our head on a swivel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I could, my husband's like, look, what's going to happen is what's going to happen. I hope they throw the bomb right out our house if it happens. That way, we'll all go.
Yeah,
they
never pick Connecticut. It's always places like New York and LA for some odd reason.
Yeah, but we'll get the
residuals. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I was thinking about that, and I'm looking what that bomb could do to us, and I'm like, oh. Not going to get my.
Don't do it. See, now you got. I'm a hypochondriac. Don't even start with me. God bless you. I got you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
You.
All right, love you too. Sorry, I can't get to the rest of the guys. I got to take a break, unfortunately. Adam and Everett, if you guys want to call back in the next hour, I promise I'll take you first. But we have a guest in the house, and we've got a hard break coming up. So we'll get to you in a little bit. We'll talk about so much more of this stuff, and we will rehash my experience with the governor in Manchester today, and we'll lay all that stuff out for you if you missed it. If indeed you want to go back and check it out, you can go to our YouTube page or just go to resetterradio.com so you can check out the beginning of the show, or just download the Odyssey app or check out WTIC in a little bit after the show, and it will be there available to you. All right. Other than that, like I said, we've got Michael Criss here from District 8. We've also got Pastor Todd and Andrew Decker of the Bandits coming in tomorrow when we were online because of the Red Sox game for Good Friday. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff coming up next week as well, and I will tell you all about that in a little bit. I'm dragging it out because we got to get into the BPS stuff. BPS Lawyers Traffic Center with Mark Christopher, who is getting you home for those of you who are getting out of work early. Must be nice.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Are we not doing it? I thought we were doing the promo. It's promo time. You forgot all about it? It was your idea. Don't worry, he'll figure it out. It's okay. It's new, and it's just a new feature on the show that we do sort of like a halftime of the show. We call it the halftime show with Roland.
Reese is on the radio. Hey. Hey. Here we go now. He's on the radio. Reese is on
right, we are back in this coming hour. Again, we've got Michael Criss. He is running for Senate in the 8th District. We'll talk to him about his campaign. We'll talk about his current leadership role and what he's doing here in the state of Connecticut, fighting the good fight, as many of us are trying to do, and seeing if we can make some ground. So it's the first time he and I meeting. We've seen each other. I don't think he knew who I was, and a lot of people don't know. I just go, who's that tall guy? So it's an opportunity for him to finally get to know me and develop a relationship here. We are going to do whatever we can to get his word out there today. So we'll talk to him. Stand by for that. Also, we've got the stupidest thing I read today. This story is the worst thing I ever heard. Michael, by the way, you have to stay here for that part. This is AI run amok, and a grandmother got caught up in AI. And you will not believe this. This is, people say it was like, we have to regulate AI. This is one of those stories where you would say to you, like, what? It was a little bit of laziness, an absolute Twilight Zone that happened to this poor grandmother. And let me just put it this way. It involves a bank robbery. A poor grandmother got ensnared by laziness by the police department. So we'll do that in roughly about a half an hour, but you're going to be here for about an hour. So we'll talk about that. Also, stand by in the next hour. We'll also take your phone calls, talk about all the events of the day, and we will get into Pam Bondi's firing as well. So stand by for that. Mark Christopher, he is back. He is at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, let's get to it. We are having a blast here. Is that a Milwaukee from like the Milwaukee, what do you call it? I'm sorry?
The packouts.
Yeah. What they do? Power tools of some sort, right? Yeah, that's them. Every time I see that, I'm an old drinker, so I see Milwaukee and I think immediately a beer company. Yeah. Old Milwaukee. That's the first thing I thought. Michael Criss is here. By the way, your last name, German?
Yes.
It is. Yes. I thought it was. Yes. It bothers me when I see Criss, and I go, well, that's not the way that you usually spell it, and I immediately thought German.
Yeah.
So you are, what's your current role now?
I'm the first selectman in Harwinton.
Bring your thing up a little bit. There you go. Yep. First select person of Harwinton, and you're born and bred there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where you are from.
Absolutely.
And
the kids are the fifth generation.
Fifth generation. That's right. You really? They said, okay, I thought your bio said you were the fifth, but you are the fourth generation. Okay.
The kids are the fifth.
The kids are the fifth. You love it here, and it's important that I talk to you about this. When you were coming in and I saw your bio being, again, your kids being the fifth generation, you're the fourth generation. You sort of embody what I say about Connecticut. I'm not from here. I'm from New York. So the tri-state area, and Connecticut, to me, growing up, was considered the brass ring. You've lived here all of your life. You're going nowhere. Your kids are living here. They may move. It's quite possible unless things change. Yeah. Explain to me, because I think this is really, really going to be emblematic of your campaign. Why do you love this state?
I love the state because of the opportunities. We talk about all the time across I hear every elected official do the typical political lip story.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's about the American dream, everybody wanting a piece of it, and where can I have a piece of it? And at the end of the day, Harwinton is that great little community in between busy Torrington and Litchfield County, and it's 2 minutes from everything. And the reality is that I want Connecticut to go back to the way it was when I was growing up, which was affordable.
Is that crazy for you to think that? Do people give you a
I'm
hard?
Crazy.
Yeah, no. I just got it the same way. Just earlier, a caller, Simsbury Joe, said I'm delusional for wanting things to go back to where they were. And it always bothered me because people say, it's like, oh, you're such a traditionalist. Aren't you okay with change? And my response to that is change isn't always a good thing.
That's right.
That's
right.
It's like sometimes we need those traditions because they keep us grounded and they make life better. They did, at least when they were, around. And they become more difficult today. Why did you choose this? Did you think because you've been here so long, you sort of made your bones here, that this sort of step up politically was the right move for you? What was the reason you got?
The real reason why I got into politics overall was the fact that our taxes were going up and we weren't getting anything for it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we were saving a couple spotted toads and a stone wall, and I wasn't getting my trash collected, and I couldn't get animal control services, and I couldn't get, and it was constantly our property taxes going up and up and up. And I said, well, wait a minute. So I went to the actual town meeting, And I spoke up, and I just said, enough's enough. And they came up to me afterwards and said, would you like to run? And I said, yeah, what does it do?
Yeah, right. What's the role?
Yeah, because I'm a plumber by trade. I had my own business with my dad for years.
Okay.
And, just been in professional management my whole life. But at the end of the day, we're always looking for efficiencies in private sector. Why don't we spend that time to look for it in public sector?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we have done that in 14 years. Now I just won my 8th term, which will be 16 years at the end of this term.
Wow.
That I have been first selectman in the town of Harrington. And we have shown control. We took a 60-40 town, Democratic town, and flipped it the other way.
So it's not impossible, Michael.
It's not impossible. You got to put the work in. You've got to have messaging, and you can't have political lip service. You got to go right out to the people, and you got to tell them what's making you upset, hear what's making them upset. At the end of the day, it comes down to the simple fact, no one, I don't care what economic bracket you're in, it's getting to the point where no one can afford to live in Connecticut anymore.
And that's what, literally, before you got here, I was making this very, very impassioned plea to people, is that regardless of people's ideological bent here in Connecticut, many people have left themselves to believe that, look, they're just on the left, they're just Democrats, they're never going to see it our way. And I said, don't let that fool you. When they go home and they look at their bills, when they go home and they look at the cost of things, there are things that they, even though they're on the ideological left of you, that are frustrating them too. And they are saying to themselves, how can we get out of this? And they deep down know, in order to do it, that they may have to change their stripes. And remember, it's a private ballot. They don't have to tell everybody that they voted for the other guy, but they've got to sort of vote. We can't have everybody vote with their feet. They have got to literally vote for change. Right. And if you could do that in a 60-40 Democrat place to get them to vote Republican because you actually went down to their core issues, the things, the kitchen table, the bathroom, the roofing, right. Whatever, trash, whatever the case may be, you've got to get them at where they are. And sometimes, it's so funny, we got a young man here, TJ Duarte, and this is a high school student from Waterbury. And even kids who aren't old enough to vote, they have the same issues that adults are having at home, that they are recognizing that there's no affordability. Let me ask you this, and I can talk all day about this. What do you think is a route for Republicans in the conversation about affordability? And the reason why I ask you is this. We've got Democrats saying over and over again, we need to deal with affordability, we need to deal with affordability. And then the next day on the headlines, here's a new tax. It's to me, I'm like, how is this? It's like 2 ways to Sunday. You guys don't even understand that affordability is, you're not going to tax your way into affordability. What's the message that we can send to get people to realize that they're being hoodwinked?
Yeah, well, I think people have to wake up. I am so upset in the fact that I hear people say they stay home. During an election cycle.
Yeah.
And it says, oh, well, because he wasn't Republican enough, or he was too Republican, or he was too Democrat, or whatever the case may be, they stay home. Well, then you're part of the problem. You're choosing a Democrat over a Republican if you don't get out and vote.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, we have to continue to work hard for our taxpayers. All these programs overlap each other. Let's face it. There's at least 10 different programs that overlap each other. We fund them all, and we're scared to take the money from one to the other because of the fact that we're going to make someone cry. Okay? At the end of the day, we take all of their ideas, set them in the room, and we say, listen, sit down, come up with one program. All of you can be a part of it.
Yeah.
And we look at similar things like the gas tax and stuff like that are done by percentage. It's not so when you hear, oh, he's going to knock 10 cents off. That's great, but it's a percentage tax.
Yeah, exactly.
So why are you going to knock 10 cents off?
It means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing. And people have to wake up and start learning the simple fact that we cannot afford, our kids cannot afford, our grandkids are not going to be able to afford to pick up the tab and save this state. Here we are circling back. We're bailing Hartford out again. Why? Because of pension misappropriations again.
Yeah.
It circles right back around. We just did this a couple of years ago.
Do you know what I just noticed about that? Just off that you brought up Hartford. I was looking at the numbers, and this blew my mind. You were talking about people not showing up to vote. Mayor Arunin won his election with 4,700 votes. There are 63,000 eligible voters in the city of Hartford proper.
Yeah.
4,000 votes.
That says something right
That is
there.
insane. And the next, his opponent got 983. Okay? And there are 3,700 Republican voters in the state of in the city of Hartford. It blew my mind at that number. Crazy. And again, that's the mayor's race in 2023. That's what that was. Ned Lamont got 23,000 in that same, the year before in 2022. Again, 66, maybe, I think 63 or 66,000 eligible voters. So clearly, which blows my mind, that the numbers of people who were showing up to the election. Oh, by the way, I got that wrong. I apologize. So 23,000 folks were for Kamala Harris. It was 19,000 for Lamont. But nonetheless, that's only a quarter in a national election for Kamala Harris. And this guy got 4,707, I think is the exact number.
And
not that you... I'm sorry?
And he becomes the mayor.
And he becomes the mayor, which, again, it's sort of like, how many people show up. Yeah. Knowing that those numbers are out there, Michael, knowing that that's the enthusiasm, and it's very little, what's the strategy going forward for Republicans? Because it's clear, yes, Republicans don't show up, but it turns out that not so much for Democrats either. What do we do to combat that? If you have any plan, what do we do?
People need to stop telling people what they want to hear in the political buzzwords. You have to have a plan and have it laid out in what you're going to do. And a lot of that comes down to dealing with taxes, not taking away local control. We look at the local control.
Yeah.
Let's face it, 90% of our property taxes, the reason why we have them is because of mandates from Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
If we undid those mandates and dissolved Hartford altogether, I guarantee you every town leader out there could fix this problem tomorrow in this state.
But you would leave Hartford in the poorhouse, though, wouldn't you? Because they don't get any tax revenue. They make no money for themselves.
As far as I'm concerned at this point, with as bad as they mismanage money, it's fine with me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. When I looked at those numbers of what everyone around Hartford is subsidizing, and it's not just Hartford, it's New Haven and Bridgeport as well. I had Reverend A.J. Johnson here from Hartford, North Hartford, who runs this alliance group, another political activist group, was talking about the reason why he blames the blight on Hartford. He blames it on the suburbs. What he fails to realize is that the only reason why you have anything is because the suburbs are subsidizing it. I mean, they're responsible for you guys even having the lights on. That's how bad it is. But they don't understand that. But I agree with you. That money that comes from, Middletown should just go to Middletown. It shouldn't subsidize any other place. As I said in my big argument this morning about the 1% tax that turned into $550 million that got misappropriated. I mean, that money was stolen. And I think you believe that as a senator, that the money that's happening, the money that's being taken from your town and from your district is also being robbed because it's going to a place that doesn't even appreciate it.
Absolutely. When you have one party rule and no checks and balances in place, doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, when you have these kind of things, systemic problems going on, DCF a big failure. Mm-hmm. Taking away homeschooling, trying to put it into DCF, which is already a failure.
Yeah.
We're losing. You look at all the audits that have come out on the state. In almost every area of the state, there's been some sort of corruption. Mm-hmm. Shocker. Politics, right. Shocker. Okay, they're taking thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of our money, and they can't account for it. I mean, how many legislators just in the past year have been nailed? Just in Connecticut, for mishandling, because they're funneling the money through these nonprofit organizations and calling them, we're helping everybody.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. When I say something in my community and I'm helping someone, I could see right away I've helped someone. Because you know what? I paid the oil bill and the oil is filled and they could turn their heat on and they call me up and say thank you. Mm-hmm. Those are results. It's not, hey, let's put all the money in and let a couple people decide where the money's going to go.
Yeah.
And let's face it, all of the different MBRs out there, Connecticut has a bad habit of one size fits all. You are corrupt down here, so that means everyone's got to follow this rule. And that is not the way to manage
There's a
state.
lot of that stuff going on here.
Insane.
With the one size, and I've talked to people in the Democrat Party who see these groups. And unfortunately, it's also kind of bled over into the Republican Party that they see these people as groups and think that it's a one-size-fits-all problem. And I keep trying to address them as like, if you don't see people as an individual and you see them as a number or a group, you're never going to solve it. And we're just going to keep throwing. We keep asking ourselves, because nothing's means tested. That's a big problem we have in government. We just go, I've got an idea. Let's just do it. And they go, can we just try it first with a small group of people? It's like, we haven't dealt with it in 20 years. I think we can wait wait 6 months.
Yeah,
like wait 6 months and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we go another route. But instead, you got these people who are more enticed by the opportunity to be on the cover of the Hartford Courant with a new spending plan.
I know.
Which, by the way, let me tell you this, Mark. We'll get a little more into you, but I got to say this, and this bothers me. I am sick and tired of going to press conferences and watching these politicians give these big speeches about whatever it is that they're spending on. And then afterwards, and I don't know if you've been there, if you've seen this, but afterwards, the politician will go, any questions? And everyone in the room is silent.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, what? Hello? You guys, nobody here's got a question? So I go, hey, Reese on the radio, WTIC. And they look at me and go, I asked a question during a press conference, and they all looked at each other. They looked like bumper cars after I asked it, because no one knew how to answer the question. I was like, did you guys not anticipate a question? You have press people for this, that someone's going to ask this question. They had to look at each other 4 different ways to go, who's got this? You got this? I don't know. You got this? They didn't even know who was in charge, who was the point person on a question. That's the part that I'm sick and tired of, is that these people are the cameramen are coming in for B-roll. They're stenographers. So that's the reason why I'm trying to get more and more people to understand, or at least get myself out there to talk to them. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about your campaign, definitely what your platform is to get people to get out there, and again, how they can support your campaign, your efforts, and more people in there. I know that you're Brian Fazio. Was that your fundraiser recently?
Yeah, he was.
Are you partnering with him in any way, or is he just coming to support?
He just came to support.
Okay.
To support, and I'm sure we'll partner down the road with some things as we go forward.
Well, I want to talk about your relationships here, and in your relationship with the state of Connecticut, and of course with Harrington, and I always pronounce that poorly, so I'm working on it. Okay?
That's all right.
It's a real
I'll
difficult.
be trained by the end of the show.
It's something about the New England people with the weird names. I said Haverhill in Massachusetts one day. I said Haverhill, and the radio station went nuts. It's Haverhill, and I went, I'm reading. That says Haverhill. Anyway, that's another story. Michael Criss is here, running for Senate in the 8th District. We'll be back more with him. And we'll talk about anything and everything under the sun. And I appreciate you being here, Michael. Thank you so much for coming in short notice. Let's get to weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, as promised, Michael Criss is here. So this is a segment that we do every day at 4:30, regardless of whether or not we have a guest or not. And it's called The Stupidest Thing I've Read Today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today, Angela Lips is a 50-year-old grandmother from North Central Tennessee. She was babysitting her 4 kids on July 14th of 2025 when West Fargo, North Dakota police used AI facial recognition to misidentify her as the suspect in a bank fraud case involving a fake U.S. Army ID and tens of thousands of dollars stolen. She was arrested at gunpoint, charged with a felony, and then unauthorized use of personal identifying information. She spent over 3 months in a Tennessee jail and was flown to North Dakota in late October. Her attorney finally proved with bank records that Lips had never left Tennessee, 1,200 miles from the crime scene. So charges were dismissed without prejudice on December 23rd of 2025. She was released on Christmas Eve with no apology. If you think that's the worst part of the story, it gets worse. She lost her house, her pets, to unpaid bills while she was locked up, and her lawyer is now pursuing civil claims. That's the worst thing that could happen. This is the reason why I hate...
Gotta love AI, right? Everyone jump on AI right now.
In a minute, are you as afraid of AI as a lot of people are? Do you think that it's going to be something that we have to regulate to a degree? I mean, I don't want this...
No, yeah. To be honest with you, I think AI was developed to make us even more lazy. And less likely to think for ourselves.
I think so, especially in this with the police department.
Absolutely.
This was,
You don't have to write anything anymore. People just throw stuff in AI.
It's so funny. I was talking to the Hartford Police Union president, and he was talking about that, there were some people who were thinking about incorporating AI in police reports. He was like, nah, don't leave it to AI. Just like, you don't want to do that.
Don't do it.
I'm just looking at this poor woman with her grandkids and arrested at gunpoint 1,200 miles away, accused of a crime. And it still took 3 months. They're using AI, and it still took 3 months for them to figure out it wasn't her. That's so bad. You know what? If they had used regular police work, they'd have figured it out in a weekend.
That's it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how bad it is.
Probably over there tuna sandwich for lunch.
Indeed. All right, we'll be back more with Michael Criss, who is running for Senate in the 8th District. He is our guest today. We've got so much stuff to get into, so stand by for that. Mark Christopher, he is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center getting you home. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back and we're live. We are hanging out with Michael Criss, Senate candidate for the 8th District. And what does that cover? That covers a lot of space.
It's 11 towns.
Yeah.
It covers, the little piece of Granby. It's got Simsbury and Avon and Canton and New Hartford, Heartland, Barkhamsted, Harwinton, Norfolk, Colebrook, and Torrington. So it's all the way out. It covers all those areas. And
are you familiar with all of those areas? Because
I am.
I'm still trying to figure out Farmington.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I do a lot of shopping out in Avon and Simsbury over the years. And
well, you've been here so long.
When Crumble moved in,
yeah.
My kids kept telling me, I thought maybe I was delirious. They kept saying, we're going to Crumble tonight, Dad. And I said, Crumble? What's Crumble?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a cookie place. And I'm like, well, I can make you cookies right here. I was like, but I do have to say, amazing cookies.
Yeah, they my wife actually used to like them, but now we're off sugar, so I'm trying not to do the whole thing. I did it's a long story. So yeah, with all of those areas, and I know you understand sort of the gravity of being, in essence, I would say the person representative of all of those areas. You've got a lot of ground to cover. Of course, I'm assuming you have a ground team to, in essence, to win this race because you know it so well. What is your message to these regions? Like, what is the core message to get people on board to your campaign?
Keep it simple. It's local control, lower costs. And people say, well, how do you do that? Well, first of all, you stop all the mandates. And I'm not going to allow, and I'm going to push back. I've been fighting for years in the sidelines. And people know me well as the guy that speaks up. I mean, I'm the vice chair of the Northwest Hills Council of Governments.
Yes, sir.
I've been the legislative chair for 8 years. And I fight for all 21 towns down there. And the reality is that when we look at the bigger picture of things, we have to push back and we have to test it. And people say, well, how are you going to make it more affordable? It's simple. It's very simple. We're going to take the taxes that were designed to go in one place and fund something that are no longer designing it, and we're going to collapse it because it doesn't work, and we're going to start it again. Listen, I'm one person at the end of the day, and they say, how do you influence everyone else? Because the message is clear this election cycle. People are exhausted. They're tired of having their communities. People choose to move out to the suburban areas and everything else and come out here. They want to enjoy some little bit of wildlife.
Sure.
And be still close enough to everything. They don't want their towns completely destroyed, and that's what's happening. And I mean, you saw the article in Simsbury, I'm sure, in the paper about the whole old insurance building,
Yeah.
And now it's going back, and it came to a complete standstill.
Yeah.
Simsbury residents, Avon residents, New Hartford residents, just because they're bigger doesn't mean that they're much different than any other town. We all want the same thing.
Right.
We want a good quality of life. We want to be able to afford it for our kids. And we want to be able to stand up for ourselves and have local control and local say over what happens in our communities. And that's what this state needs to get back to. And that's the real problem.
What do you say to people who think that unifying message, right, in keeping it local, in essence, keeping the core essence of these towns is somewhat isolationist? In a way, I don't see that way because like I said, I'm a Hollis, Queens guy. I know what it's like to live in the inner city.
Yeah.
I look at Connecticut as always being the brass ring. This was you moved to this place for that simple reason, to be in a small town, to know your neighbors, to go to your local diner, to go to your local, in your boutique. My wife is big on boutiques. The reason why she fell in love is she's never been in the Northeast. She's from Texas. She came to New England. She got here in Connecticut, and she fell in love with it instantly. This woman loves nothing. She's like, seriously, she falls in love with nowhere. We've moved 4 times in the 4 years we've been together. This is the only place she's ever moved to that she fell in love with, specifically for what you just described, that sort of community feel. Is that something that really resonates with town to town, no matter what their ideological bent is? And is that the message, or how do you convey that?
That is the message. We all want to be part of a community. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about your party affiliation. We all want to look out for each other. We all, essentially, in our heart of hearts, want to take care of each other and do the right thing. But because of all the nonsense that goes on in politics, and I always say politics is so dirty, it's nasty. I'm not that kind of person. The reality is that if you keep listening to all that garbage, it continues to create a divide. And when you have towns that are independent thinkers, but yet we're all moving towards the same goal, protect our rural communities, protect our environment, we can do all of that without creating, these big solar farms, these big battery farms. We are not California. I hate to tell you, folks. If you want to go to California, I'll drive the U-Haul.
Right.
But we're not California. We need to get back to what made Connecticut a beautiful New England town. And it was because New England State is because of the uniqueness of Connecticut and every single one of its communities. You go through New Hartford. Just take that drive from Norfolk through all the way up through to Granby. It is one of the most beautiful drives you'll ever see. And if that's all built up on, and all there is apartments and affordable housing, who pays the bill?
Yeah.
Who pays the bill when you've got all this subsidized housing and subsidized work and everything else? It's not saying it's not needed, but they should not be longevity programs. They should not be lifestyle programs.
Right.
And every community in Avon, and they plan how they're going to develop their centers and how they're going to develop their towns. When I first ran, it was about bringing my community together, making us all feel part of something. We created the first food pantry. We created, the first regional animal control our size in our area. And why did we do that? Because all of our neighbors couldn't afford to go out and so let's work together. Let's do it together. And we have to, as voters, stop being duped. Okay? I say this because I just saw a flyer that came out from a Democratic candidate a sitting senator.
Yeah.
Came out. It sounded like my speech from the night before. I said it was almost like he had someone there and he wrote it up.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, now I'm him.
Now I'm
the
the unifier."
Yeah. But when you look at the voting record, listen, voted for 8,002, the bill.
Yeah.
5,002. They were all bad bills.
Yeah.
151 this session. We are completely getting eroded around the state of our freedoms, of our say, and what we can really teach our children. That's one of the great rights of being in America.
Sure.
And being in Connecticut is being able to teach our children the way we want to teach them. I don't need someone to tell me that they need to, at 5 years old, they need to pick,
what gender
they want to do, what animal they want to be. It's not that, it's very simple.
It's a little ridiculous, but it's insane that we actually have to have that conversation with people.
Well, what's frustrating is that they make such a point to point this stuff out nowadays. When I was growing up as a child, we didn't look at people differently. We didn't care. I didn't care if you believed something different. I didn't believe in all this skin tone. My parents raised us. Everyone, if they're good to you, you be good to them. Doesn't matter what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
You don't all have to believe the same thing. But at the end of the day, we have to continue to work hard as elected officials to say, you're not going to sell me the shoe shine salesman going door to door saying, don't forget, I ride my bicycle and I'm going to be your conservative when actually I'm a Democrat, and all we do is vote against everything of what this district wants.
Yeah.
And this district is a good balance of rural, moderate development district. Any more than that would push it over the tipping point and make it unsustainable.
I'll tell you, I went to that No Kings rally. I went to one of them in the sort of like Farmington, Avon line. Mm-hmm. And there were a bunch of people there, 2 women in particular, who had signs that said the word diversity. Now imagine, and I don't say this to be, disrespectful in any way, but we all know that these rallies are predominantly middle-aged and middle-class white folks. So my 6'3", 235-pound blackness shows up. And I walk up and I see the woman holding the sign of diversity. And I'm thinking, my behind is going to show up there and ask her a question about diversity, and she's going to be none too excited, incredibly excited to answer my question. So I say, tell me about diversity. And she looks at me and she goes, well, diversity is when we have blacks and browns and Hispanics and whites, and they all come together. And I went, absolutely, good answer. Can I ask you another question about diversity? And she says, yes. And I go, how do you feel about diversity of thought? And the woman looked at me and said, I don't know. And I went, I'm sorry? She said, I don't know what that means. And I said, diversity of thought, people having different opinions. I don't think I want to answer that question. It blew my mind.
Scary.
That is scary. And I asked another person about that and then said the same thing. And I said, what about diversity of thought? Now, thankfully, this woman clearly got the message. I mean, not that she was privy to it, but when I said to her about it, I said, what do you feel about diversity of thought? And she said, She goes, yeah, we should have diversity of thought. I don't think that everybody should think, the same. And I went, finally, a reasonable person. And that's the reason why I bring that up. And what I want to ask you before we go is, do you find that difficult when you're talking to people about your message and explaining to them that, look, sure, there are going to be things that we disagree on, but where can we find a common ground? How do you do that? By having that sort of diversity of thought conversation.
Well, I think you want to encourage that. As a local leader, I've always encouraged different opinions and different thoughts and looked at them and said, yeah, maybe it would work that way. Maybe it would work this way. Let's come up with a plan and let's do it this way. And we come up with that simple attitude to let everyone come to the table and add in what they need and what they want. I think when you're going door to door, it's very simple, and that's how elections are won. It's the old school door to door. I don't like texting. I don't like AI. I don't like any of that stuff. Maybe I'm just getting too old. I don't know.
That's all right.
I like going door to door. I still like shaking people's hands. And I want to hear, listen, if you don't like what I'm doing, then I'm fine with that. Let's talk about it. Let's find out why you don't like it, and let's find out why I did it, and let's talk a little bit more about it. What I can't stand is when people are so closed off that they can't listen to a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
And you have to be more willing to listen to a difference of opinion, because we all have a difference of opinion, and we all essentially want the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line, and I think that we've become an ideological divide where people are forgetting that regardless of what they think about this, that, or the third, that the core thing that we care about, especially when we live in our neighborhoods, is like, do we want them to be safe? I don't know anybody on any side of the aisle who doesn't want that. Do they want them to be prosperous? Do we want tourism? Do we want people to come in to see how beautiful our neighborhood is so that our local businesses can continue to thrive? We want people driving through town, not to go through just Hartford. We want them going into our small towns and cities and to see how beautiful it is there and the reason why we live there. Those are the things that we want to share with the world, if not the rest of the country. But we want to share with those people, and then we have got to talk. We have to communicate with those people there and say, forget about the ideology. Let's just talk about how we make sure that our towns represent the thing that we care about most, the safety, the beauty, the oneness of it all. Like That's we right. are. There's always, I used to always say this, like each town has what's called a sort of an unwritten rule about the way in which we govern ourselves, right? It's like the way we do things in this town, we do it this way. The way we do it in that town, we do it differently. We just have this code because I think that differentiates all of us in some way. Here's an opportunity to get those codes, that code, if you will, together, all of us sort of recognizing, you know what, I don't agree with you on this guy, and I don't agree with you on that guy. But you know what? We got to fix that damn pothole. It's got to be, you have to look at it that way, and I think that's how you have to approach it. Is that kind of your scheme here?
You have to get out there and get it done. You have to be able to roll your sleeves up and get the work done. And at the end, when we look at everything down the road and how this state is running and how these laws that come out and everything else, the message is very simple. What does affordability mean to you? It means that I can go and buy an ice cream when I want. I can afford to keep the roof over my head. I can afford to keep groceries on the table. I can afford to keep my lights on. Yeah. That's what affordability is. So we have all these people suffering around the state, but yet we're more worried about building affordable housing than we are making the state affordable for the people that are already living in the town.
Or the people who are going to subsidize said affordability.
That's right. That's right. And let's face it, there's no gates around any of our communities.
Right.
Anyone can
That's
live
right.
there
That's
if
right.
you can afford to live there. The reason why people can't afford to live in these towns is because of all the mandates, all of the taxes. It goes all back to the same thing. And if I always tell people, if you don't want a politician and you want to vote for just a guy that's going to get things done, call the plumber.
Yeah,
because I'm the guy.
I hear you.
You know?
I'm going to forward you the Substack article that I wrote, and the headline is "I want to live where the white people are. Don't lie, you do too." and what you just described is what I'm talking about. We can all live in those communities, and the crux of that article is, look, I'm a kid from Hollis Queen. I'm a former homeless kid. I'm a high school dropout, right? I did the blood, sweat, and tears that I had to deal with in order to get where I am today. Took all of everything. It was not subsidized through welfare, through programs, through nothing. It took grit, true grit, to get where I am so I can live in a suburban neighborhood in a nice apartment with my wife. And we have got to incentivize, and I say incentivize, people to do the hard work so they can live in places like Harwinton. Is it Harwinton? Okay.
Harwinton. So, Harwinton.
Harwinton. Okay, yeah. Well, we have to encourage people to do the hard work to do that. We just can't give them a free ride into there because they will never appreciate it the way the people who live there do.
That's right.
And that's the thing that they have to protect. And it's not about, as you said, we're not gating people out of the community. We're telling them all are welcome, but you got to earn it the way that we did. And we have got to preserve it so that people want to earn to live there.
That's right. And we have to stop using the buzzwords of, we're going to eliminate motor vehicle tax. That's going to be a great thing. You know, I just don't understand. You can use all the buzzwords and you could think of all the things in the whole wide world. It's not about eliminate. If you eliminate that little motor vehicle tax, what do the renters pay now to use all your services within your community? They don't. They fall back to the landlords and they fall back to the property owners to pick up the tab.
That's
because
right.
Because the only tax they pay in town is your motor vehicle tax.
Wow.
And that's turned out to a debacle for every single town. You know, Ronald Reagan said it best, always worry when the government says we're here to help.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. Michael, Criss, thank you so much. I appreciate your time here. Running for Senate in the 8th District. Make sure, please, give everybody your website so they can find out how to. Is it a website yet or just your Facebook page?
No, there's a Facebook page and there's a website. We're high tech. Just because we're from a cow town doesn't mean we're not high tech.
We'll give it before we go to break.
We have www.MikeCriss.com, and we also have the Criss for Senate, Mike Criss for Senate Facebook page. So follow us on there. We need donations and we need people to help us because regular people like us need to win elections this time around.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us today.
And
we'll talk soon. We'll bring you back.
Absolutely.
All right, you got
I'm not leaving.
Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we got a lot of stuff going on in here. That was a fun interview. I liked talking to new folks out here. Let's do the music. News. Okay, I don't know who this guy is, but I know that he is a country singer. His name is Zach Bryan, and he was born in 1996. I already hate him. He is 30 years. You know him? It doesn't matter. I don't know him. He's 30. He's a baby. I know he's a big name. I'm sure he's big name, but he's 30, and I don't like him. He's a baby. I'm 30 years old. He was born in 1996. Do you know how old I was in 1996? Good gracious. Anyway, he's 30. Also, Quavo, another person I don't like today. He turns 35. Quavo is from that group Migos. Yeah, from Migos. He turns 35 today. Karen Woodward is the member of a band you all remember, Bananarama, who sang, Venus and Cruel Summer, Pretty Blondes, who can sing. That song was a big hit back in the day, Cruel Summer. Anyway, Emmylou Harris turns 79. Wow, country folk queen with 14 Grammys turns 79. Album chart and album anniversaries. 20 years ago, Gnarls Barkley with the famous song Crazy hits number 1 on the UK charts on this day 20 years ago with CeeLo Green and Danger Mouse. That was their debut together. 62 years ago, the Beach Boys record I Get Around in 1964 was their first U.S. number 1 single and UK top 10. And 69 years ago, my guy, Elvis Presley, plays his first concerts outside of the United States in 1957. 2 shows at Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens before 23,000 fans. It's Toronto. Is that technically international? This is like up north. It's like going to Buffalo. Well, that's what they say. Anyway, so that's your music news. Mark Christopher, who loves this segment, he is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. I know you remember Bananarama, right?
Oh, yeah. Cruel Summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I Heard a Rumor.
That's right. I Heard a Rumor. I forgot about that song.
A cover of the shocking blues song Venus.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
And we want to thank Michael Criss, Senate candidate for District 8, for being here, and they filled in for Devon Ward, who was supposed to be here, but he got sick last minute. Well, last night he got sick, and he had to cancel. Mark from West Hartford was supposed to be here with me, but we're going to reschedule for next week, and Mark will be here as well, and we'll just revisit that conversation. I need to say before I get to everything else on here, let me get all of my information here because I screwed up the poor guy's name, and Adam 12 got everything for me here, and I didn't write all of it down because I've been all over the place. As you know, I ran all the way from Manchester to get back here. We are going to have a conversation with, goodness gracious, Senator Wong is going to be here. And he wrote an op-ed about the No Kings rally. And he is not seeking re-election. He'll be here on the show on Monday. And then we've got Linda Sinkowitz, who will be here on Tuesday. You remember her from fightvoterfraud.org. She'll be here with some more information she needs to share with you. And, of course, go to her website, fightvoterfraud.org. We'll talk to her on Tuesday. We are, again, working really, really hard to get Linda McMahon here. I don't think it's not happening. It looks like it is, but I think the scheduling is important on how it gets done. She is coming up to speak at Yale. We're either going to get her here before that so she can at least promote the speech at Yale, or we will get her afterwards. We are really trying to get her here so we can promote her Yale speech as well. We've got another story that we're going to be working on. Apparently, there are Middletown parents who are fighting to remove Matt Lesser from, of all things, the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. Again, there are parents who are working hard to remove Senator Matt Lesser from the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. I can't believe this story's real, but it is. And we are trying to get in touch with Shakia Dickerson, a Middletown resident and public school parent, as well as another person who wrote a petition back in 2024. She is community advocate Gwen Samuel. And she is also trying to get signatures to remove Matt Lesser, Senator Matt Lesser, from the, yes, I am not kidding, the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. Matt Lesser, guys. It's no way it's real. It's just no way. It's just no way it's real, but it's a real story. I know it should be the part of the stupidest thing I read today, but I think it would be better if we did a real live Stupidest thing I read today with the actual people who want to remove him from the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. I think it's important. I'm sorry. I think it's really important that we get these women here. So if you know them, if anyone knows who these people are, please find them. Okay, again, it is Shakia Dickerson, a Middletown resident and a public school parent, and also a community advocate, Gwen Samuel, who she had a previous position that she lost in January of 2024 and got she reached an initial goal of 100 signatures and drew media attention, but the caucus did not take action. And we want to talk to them about trying to remove Matt Lesser from the I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing at it. From this caucus. If I say it again, I'll just start laughing again. I'm trying not to. I just don't. Anyway, phone calls, please. We'll get to them in a second. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Pam Bondi has been let go. She has been shown the door at the Trump administration. And I've not seen it yet, but I'm sure that I will. There is somebody at the CNN or MS Now newsroom that probably has done it already. I wouldn't put it past them, who has made this about the Epstein files. I am certain they are going to do it. The fact that no one has approached me about it has sent a message to you. Hey, Reese, what about that Pam Bondi? Epstein. They haven't gone there yet, but that's okay. I've probably given them permission to do it now. Find a way to make the angle. It's okay. Do what you can. I hope you don't break your arm trying to reach for that scenario. But that's important. But here was something that I noticed. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, again, I talk to people on the left all the time. As I mentioned with my interview with Michael Criss, I was at the, I was about to say Black Lives Matter, No Kings rally. Well, the hell, it's the same thing. The No Kings rally at the Avon Farmington line. And there, as I spoke to people, one, I would say middle-aged white woman asked me if it was important to me that Pete Hegseth had not promoted two black and female, or four black and female people in the military, that they did not get promoted, and the story was in the New York Times. And my response to her was, do you want me to care because the candidates were black? And if so, why is that so important? Is their race the most important part about their hiring or firing? And if that is, and if you think that that's supposed to touch me in some special place, you got the wrong guy, because that's not the reason why I care. I don't care what color they were. Were they competent? Is it possible for a black person to be incompetent in your eyes? Or do all black people get a free pass because you're white and privileged? Now, if that's the case, please make that case to me, and I'd be happy to hear from you. Please don't make it about race unless you're willing to answer the real questions. Now, with that, folks, here we have Pam Bondi fired. And 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had Kristi Noem fired. And weirdly enough, I don't hear anyone angry about Trump firing 2 women. Where is the outrage? Trump didn't, I forgot, replaced both women with men. Where is the outrage? Shouldn't there be Donald Trump is a sexist? Shouldn't that be on everyone's social media wall right now? Shouldn't you be standing up to those 2 women? Huh? Or they're too bimbo-y for you, huh? Didn't you call one a Barbie and the other one a Barbie or a bimbo or whatever it was? Huh? In fact, I just saw Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they released social media posts saying, good riddance to bad rubbish. Bashing women now, I guess that's acceptable. What happened to protect all women? They were replaced by men. I don't see the outrage. Now all of a sudden it doesn't matter? Come on, aren't you going to say Donald Trump is a sexist and a pig? Aren't you going to say that he fired that woman because she was about to expose him in the Epstein files? Do I have to be the person to hold your hand as you type? Huh? What happened? But yet we got nothing. And as for the Kristi Noem's husband with the big boob fetish, some of you have been asking me to respond to this. And I thought about it. I thought about it for a long time. Where is the left? Come on! He's a cross-dresser, just like Drag Queen Story Hour. There's no love for Kristi Noem's husband, and the fact that her working in Washington, he couldn't be his true self. He was constrained by Washington elite who didn't let him be free. Why are you not crying for this man? Instead, you're mocking him? You're mocking him for his little weird fetish? Now it's something to toy with and make fun of? Oh, sweetie, you should have never given me permission. 'Cause I swear I am going to make you pay. Oh, this show? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a trans ridicule zone right now. If you're making fun of a man who has a secret desire to dress up with women's breasts, and now that's something to mock and ridicule, well, you could damn well bet we're going to make a lot of fun of your favorite people across the country. Where's Dylan Mulvaney when you need him or her, shim, herm? Where's he? Where's he? Come on out of the woodworks, buddy. We can't wait until you show up. But, boy, we're going to have a field day with you. Huh? What happened? I thought these were your people. You should be celebrating him. You should be inviting him on all the network news programs. Isn't it awful the way that they've mocked you? That they've destroyed your life? The Trump administration doesn't care about your weird fetish, but we do here. No, instead you made fun of it. Well, I hope you know I am going to be relentless. Oh, you better not have your buddies, your friends, and your pals never better show up in a dress. I find one of your friends in makeup, a pair of high heels, or even a wig. You could damn well bet that all bets are off. Oh, I'm going to mock them. Oh, and I'm going to be evil. Oh, yeah. Evil. You could damn well bet. Do I care that Kristi Noem's husband is walking around looking all sexy? I don't care. I don't care. This isn't a scandal. You guys think this is a scandal? This is par for the course. This is one of yours. You should be embracing him. You should be sending him love letters. You should be running him for office. This isn't a moment for ridicule. This is a celebration. We should be lifting him up. We should be putting him up on high, letting the world know that Kristi Noem is married to a freak. A special kind of freak that you can enjoy. But you want no parts of him, which truly means one thing. You don't like this any more than we do. That when the opportunity arises, you think these people are sick too, don't you? And I told you that before. Was it just yesterday or the day before when I told you that people need permission to call it out? That they have been hogtied into saying that's normal. But then when they get the right opportunity, you see who they truly are. Freak! You got busted. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But see, I'm not fearful of anybody who wishes to dress that way, and I'm not intimidated or insulted, nor do I feel any shame because her husband wanting to dress up that way, that's all him. I don't associate myself with that kind of behavior, and nor do I glom onto it and now say it's a representation of who I am. The man's a freak, clearly. But then again, he was in charge of nothing. He's just some guy who's got a fetish. But you guys think you can use it as a weapon. Well, good. Because we will now. Because you've given us permission to. Be careful what you wish for. I always say it. If you set the table, you've got to eat there too. So come on. We're serving liver. And you better eat every bit of it. Let's get some weather and traffic in you. Mark Christopher, he is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. We'll be back.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
All right, let's do the new thing we're doing.
Now, what have we learned?
What have we learned?
What have we learned from this little fable?
So what have we learned if nothing else, children?
So what have we learned, huh? So what have we learned from that?
So what have we learned here today? What have we learned so far?
What we learned today is that we've got to do much, much more to make sure that the word is out about what's going on with our elected officials, in particular, the top of the food chain, and that is Governor Lamont. And I got to tell you that it is going to be my job that no matter where he goes, as these stories persist, we're going to get out there and we're going to ask as many questions as possible. And I think it's important that each of us who are independent reporters out there, from Mark in West Hartford to Sam the Man, on the street, to Adam 12, we have got to get to these events and we have got to ask the questions that we know the news media is not going to ask. And that is a given. And it's got to be on the record, and we have to make sure that they are there to witness those questions being asked and answered. It is not going to be a fair playing field unless we make it fair. And we're going to have to, we're going to have to call out the refs. This is not, we can't have our elected officials behaving like the Kansas City Chiefs. For those of you who understand that reference, you know what I mean. We're going to, the refs are on the take. They just are. Right? The refs aren't calling the game. They're not calling balls and strikes and fouls and red flags and yellow flags and nothing. Okay? And it's got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is with the team of people who wish to get involved. And I know that you want to. All right? So, we'll do that. We also learned that Michael Criss is a pretty good guy. And we thank him for showing up today. We also learned today that in following Michael Criss's model, that guy turned a town that was 60-40 Democrat and turned it around and got himself elected by going door to door. And behind the scenes, try this on for size, he won his election by 30 votes. He took a 60-40 town and turned it around and won by 30 votes. If there's anything we learned today, it can be done. So, we got to get to work, and we got to get to work now. Yeah, question is, do you want to do the work? That's right. 100% right, Roland. Question is do you want to do it? I want to. I hope the rest of you do as well. We'll get to weather and traffic in a second. I want to say Tony Huang. That's who it is. It's Tony Huang. He is going to be on the show on Monday at 4 o'clock. We'll talk to him about his article, his op-ed on No Kings. We'll also have Linda Sinkowitz. Will also be here from FightVoterFraud.org on Tuesday. And on tomorrow's show, when we are online because of the Red Sox game, we got Pastor Todd from Bridge Community Church. Andrew Decker and the Bandits will be performing live. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the radio. By the way, if you find that there is a memo that is circulating that's allegedly attached to the NFL about religious freedom and the LGBTQ community, please take note that it does not appear to be real. Some people have been sharing it, and it does not look like it is an official letter by the folks at the NFL. Not as of yet. It appears to be a hoax that may be made to stir controversy with regards to the Jaden Ivey controversy with him calling out Pride Month celebrations in sports events and his Christianity. There is a memo that's suggested by the NFL telling players to be cautious of talking about their Christianity if it goes after the LGBTQIA plus thing. So it doesn't appear to be a real memo. So be careful if you see that. Before we get out of here, I just want to reiterate today that my conversation with my questions to the governor today were flat out lies as far as his answers were concerned. And I want to play one of them in particular in asking about the $550 million that was taken from taxpayers and put in a general fund when it wasn't supposed to go there ever in the first place. The governor suggested that he had nothing to do with it, and this policy preceded him.
Well, I'm saying it's $500 million that did not go back to tourism or to the towns that it was allotted for. I kind of feel like people are treating it like, oh, it's just $500 million. I mean, there's some people who are outraged.
This is all precedes me, by the way, but, that said, I think if people want more money for tourism, that money comes from someplace else. Like I said, we've got significant resources for tourism, more than we've had in many, many years, making a down payment on promoting the state for the 250th.
Any feelings about the congressional race heating up?
So immediately, Susan Raff changed the subject on the exact quote. Look, this all precedes me, by the way, but that said, I think people want more money for tourism. That money comes from someplace else. Like I said, we've got significant resources for tourism, more than we've had in many, many years, making a down payment on promoting the state for the 250th anniversary, which he's supposed to be doing a big celebration there. Well, anyway, it's flat out false. Lamont took office in January of 2019. The tax was in his first budget, which started in October of 2019. His own administration even tweaked the rules on what counts as a meal. This entire $500 million diversion happened on his watch, saying it precedes me is a cheap way to dodge responsibility for a policy he signed and his party has protected for 7 years. He says if we want more money for tourism, that money comes from someplace else. This isn't about wanting more new spending. It's about redirecting the exact money that was promised for tourism and towns in the first place. They already took it from diners and restaurants. Now he's saying go find new taxes somewhere else. Honor the original deal instead of treating it like a general slush fund. And he says also we got significant resources for tourism, more than we've had in many years. And again, bragging about something that he has after he's stolen, or at least the state has stolen the money. The tourism budget has been slashed as restaurants groups have publicly complained. The 250th anniversary birthday party this year is just an election year window dressing. If they had significant resources, why did towns and restaurants have to beg for Senate Bill number 2 to get even half of their own tax money back? This is a spin to cover up years of underfunding and the very thing that tax was supposed to support. So he is lying, and it is an election year lie. And again, not knowing that he is the person who put that tax in place. and lied about where the money was going and then suggest that he doesn't. Oh, it precedes me. I don't know what you're talking about. It was in a first budget in the first year of his administration, and he doesn't remember it. And he should be held to account, and he must be made to remember it. And the money must be paid back. That should be done. Let's go to Jane in Bloomfield. Hello, Jane. How are you?
Reese, it's Stalker Jane. You gotta get that
I
right.
know who it is. You don't want me to call you that, do you, Jane? Come on. I was saying that just in jest.
Let me tell you something. You remember Ian, Rooster Ian, the Barbados friend of ours.
Yes. How is he?
He's doing fine.
Please send him my best.
Yes, I told him I was going to be calling you, and he's hoping. What are you and Roseanne doing on Easter morning, Sunday?
Well, we will be spending time with some family. In fact, our good friends, the Puyas, will be spending Easter with them. But we will be around during the weekend, and we've got church earlier in the day, too.
Oh, because what we would like to do, you remember meeting Janet at the Manchester Road race?
That's correct. Yes, I do remember.
Okay, Janet, she's got what's going on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. She's got the Hoppin' Hodges 5K road race. And that will be in the memory of Jim Hodges.
Okay.
And it will benefit the town of Andover Parks and Recs to help preserve the trail. Jim Hodges loved running the rails to trails. He was happy running just for the pure of running. And it's a flat course. It's a wide trail, right at the Hop River Trail at the Ben Franklin Plumbing in Andover. So we all were hoping that you could come. I heard you say you ran from Manchester into Farmington. You could do a little 5K.
I am not that close. I am nowhere near. I drove there. There's no way I would run there. That is impossible for me to do. But I will say, look, I thank you for promoting it for her. Of course, people should go if they want to be a part of that. And thank you for that. Please send her my best. Of course, my best to you, but I can't do it this Sunday. I mean, this coming Sunday, but my entire dance card is full, but I promise we will get together soon. In fact, what you do need to know, Jane, is that we're going to be doing another live broadcast very soon. I'm actually coordinating with Joey, and I'm going to talk to Janine about it, but it may happen after the debate that's taking place on April 30th, but it is going to happen soon.
Okay, please keep me posted.
I promise you I will.
Listen, honey, I remember you were talking about doing a bicycle ride.
Yes, that's still happening. I promise you that's going to happen as well.
Okay, because Ian the Rooster, you know him. He's a big cyclist as well.
He told me.
Janet, Janet and myself, we will all be there to support your ride.
Oh, thank you so much, dear. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Jane.
Okay, you're welcome, and a hug to Roseanne, too.
I will. You got it, dear. I don't want to call her. I jokingly said to her at between rounds, she was Stalker Jane, and I don't want to call her that. It seems so disrespectful, but she takes it in good fun. So if she's okay with it, I'll probably use it. What's up? Christine is in Middletown. How are you?
Well, Reese, I don't know where to begin with that. I heard before the 5:30 news. I don't consider him. I don't like this part of this quote trans umbrella. In fact, there's no umbrella. You have to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria to be, if you want to be considered.
So what do you?
trans.
So okay. So what do you think? What do you think? Christy Noem's husband is. This is just a fetish for him.
Yeah, it's a fetish.
Right.
And if you're worrying about boobs, why are you worrying about boobs? Here's the deal. Once you go down the medical road, it takes about 3 to 4 months to be castrated for good on your hormone replacement therapy.
Oh my goodness.
I use spironolactone, and you're done. You can't even think about sex after 3 months on HRT. That was a long time ago for me.
Oh,
my boobs
goodness.
didn't grow that big, but I have my own boobs. Why would you want anything like... Sounds like this guy wants...
Christine, I'm learning more than I want to in this conversation. I'm not ready for this.
There's a difference. You know what?
I know.
And I see but you know the problem is I get criticized by all people on the left.
Yes,
criticized
you are. There's an equal opportunity criticism and razzing you. I totally know that, but I am, Christine. You got to know I am so squeamish about this. But not. It's just a personal thing that. But I appreciate the call. I want to wrap up with a couple of things, but thank you. I appreciate you. I want to get to this before we get out of here. Like I said, we've got Senator Wang coming in on Monday, and we've got Linda Sinkowitz coming in on Tuesday. Tomorrow, it is Good Friday. We will be primarily online. I know a lot of you generally listen to the radio the way that you do, but please, Pastor Todd asked me, or at least he said in our congregation, that we need to invite people to remember Holy Week and to remember Good Friday and Easter. And he said, if you invite them, they will come. He says 9 times out of 10, if you invite people, they will show up. So I am inviting us to join us online at WTIC.com, the Odyssey app, or of course, ReeseOnTheRadio.com to join us on Good Friday. The Red Sox, of course, will be playing on the regular station. You can join that as well, but try to join us at least at 3 o'clock for the Good Word with Pastor Todd Williams, again, who will be my guest. And then after that, we have a musical treat. Andrew Decker will be here with his band, The Bandits, and they'll be performing live. I love live music. I'm a big fan of that. And so I can't wait to share that with you as well online. So we're going to try to celebrate Easter as best we can. And we would really, really love you and invite you to join us. So please come and take a part of that. With that, you can always reach me at ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. I will have, I'm sure that I will have a Substack this week. I've thought about what I was going to write in my Substack. I haven't decided yet, but I have an idea of what I'm going to write about it. If you want to subscribe to Substack, you can also go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. All of the links to the past stories are there on the website at ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can also check out the show on YouTube. You can also listen to the audio version of the show, any show that you missed, and you can listen to it there as well. So please support the website at ReeseOnTheRadio.com. We are trying to make it as fun and entertaining as we possibly can. We're going to have some new videos popping up really, really soon. And every day we're going to try to keep it new and improved as well. We will, I guess we'll see you tomorrow on the show. Let me see. Tonight is Maundy Thursday, the Last Supper. Yes, it is. And let me see. Ned says RuPaul and Tyler Perry and Flip Wilson have made millions on their fetish. Thank you, Ned. That is the. And Brett says, Michael, Criss, nice interview. Good to hear you on here. I'm sure Michael is listening. And again, we do thank Michael Criss for being our guest as well. He's a good interview. Great stuff. We look forward to having him back here. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate that. I think with that, that's it. At Red Sox game, is it the home opener tomorrow, Roland? Tomorrow's a home opener at Fenway. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be. I got invited to go to a game this Sunday, but I couldn't go. And I felt bad about it because I really want to go to a game, and I love Fenway. But I promise I will go soon. Milton Berle used to cross-dress too. Apparently. It's kind of a different thing now, Lori. It's completely different now. Who's that? Oh, that's right. Well, you're talking about the guy from Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. Would you do me? I do me. It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. That it is. Hey, you know what I forgot? Thank you, TJ. I appreciate you. Check out the Duarte show. You got to look it up on YouTube. Go check it out. Of course, our good friend TJ Duarte, he went yesterday to Madison to meet up with all the candidates, and I got to give him a round of applause. This kid, he goes down there, he meets Betsy McCoy, he meets Aaron Stewart, he meets Ryan Fazio, and guess what? Just off the prestige of being on this show, he managed to get, I think, maybe 2, if not all the candidates to appear on his podcast. Good going, kid. And by the way, we got a new feature that we're going to do with TJ, and it's called Future So Bright. And I was thinking about him as he was sitting across here. There's that song by Timbuk 3 called, Future So Bright, I Gotta Wear Shades. And I heard that song, and in my head was as he was talking. And I'm doing all right, getting good grades, the future's so bright. And I was saying to myself, I said, yep, that's the perfect song for this kid. I'm going to turn that into his theme song. But, yeah, can you believe that kid? He is out there. He hit the ground running. That's exactly what I want for that kid. He's going to be something big. I believe it. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember, panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 2, even if it's online. You be here too.